Okay, so I've added to this pot 8 sticks of butter, unsalted. I added a bag and a half of the bell pepper medley. It has the bell peppers and the onions already cut up in the frozen section. So I did like a bag and a half of that, as well as I put in here like a half a cup of chicken broth. So I'm kind of letting that boil. Actually, I need to turn this down to like 3. So I'm letting this boil, and then I'm going to show you what seasonings I use. Now, for all of these seasonings, I use about 1 tablespoon of each seasoning, and I'll tell you the ones that I use a little bit more because I like mine just a little spicy. So I use a half a tablespoon of Mrs. Dash, a tablespoon of Mrs. Dash, a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of lemon and pepper seasoning. Now, if you're gonna put fresh lemons into your butter sauce, you know, cut up lemons, I would suggest maybe putting a little bit less of the lemon pepper, maybe a teaspoon or half a tablespoon of the lemon pepper, because you don't want it too lemony. Unless you want it lemony, then do that. Ground ginger, parsley flakes, adobo. I use a lot of seasonings, you guys. Sazon. And then I usually do 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons of Old Bay, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning, 1 tablespoon to 1.5 of the crushed red pepper, 1.5 of the ground cayenne pepper, and then I do like 2 tablespoons of the red hot sweet chili sauce. Sometimes I limit it. It really depends on how much I'm making, because I don't like sweet butter sauce, so I don't put a whole lot of this in there. But for this big pot, the 2 tablespoons is fine. But if I'm making like 1 serving, I'll probably put like a tablespoon of it in there. And so, oh, and then also 1 tablespoon of ground black pepper. Yeah, and then those are all the seasonings that I use in my pot to make my butter sauce. And then, like I said, depending on how many people you're serving, you're going to want to play with it a little bit. So you can decide like how much seasoning that you want to put in there. But I'm making it for a nice amount of people, so I want to put in you know, more seasonings and everything. So I'll come back with and show you guys once I add all the seasonings to my pot. Okay, so I have added my seasonings, and I've also did a little taste test. And that's what you want to do when you're making your butter sauce. If you're watching this and this will be your first time making butter sauce, everything that I suggested, I would suggest maybe going down a little bit. So when I put a tablespoon of my spices in there, maybe start off with a half a teaspoon. I'm sorry, a teaspoon or a half a tablespoon. Just so you can get a feel of what you like, because I like mine to have a little kick to it in terms of spicy, and you may not like that. So, you know, maybe start off with smaller quantities of everything that I listed in terms of my seasonings, just to make sure it's what you like. Because I actually learned how to make this from watching Be Lovely. And so I just took how she made hers. You know, I did it that way, and then I began to add my own spices, and you know, some of my spices are different than hers, and my quantities as well are different from hers. But I used her tutorial as my foundation, as my base, and that's really how you do all recipes. Is, you know, you take what someone else is doing. You know, like you want to find somebody who you feel like they're a good source for a recipe, and you know that whatever they make, you'll probably like it. And then you tweak it and you make it your own. I'm pretty sure that's what most cooks do. They tweak things and they make it their own once they learn how, you know, to make the foundation of that food. So this is my butter sauce. I'm gonna definitely let it cook longer because I like to cut my butter sauce off when it turns like a darker red, like once it starts to boil and it turns darker. That's when I know that for me my butter sauce is ready, because I like it to boil and really cook and get those juices and everything flowing throughout the butter sauce. So once this starts to boil and it gets to where I like it, I'll come back and I'll let you guys know what the finished product is going to look like. I'll definitely add a couple of pictures of my seafood boil from later so you guys could see exactly what I made. And I'll probably do maybe I'll do a video and show you guys how I cook my the actual crab legs and lobster tails and things like that, and my mussels, so you guys you know, be able to cook it yourself, because it's definitely cheaper to cook this yourself than going to buy it out. And I was so upset. I went to the store. I've been going to the store for like the last week trying to find me some king crab legs, and I cannot find them. I've gone to Jewel, Pete's, Walmart, you know, like I called several Jewel Oscos and went to different Pete markets, because that's usually where I get my king crab legs from. And they told me that none of them have them, because right now the king crab legs cost so much money, and they're not even ordering it because they don't want to, number one, waste it. If they're just sitting there, they don't want them to sit there too long. You see how it's starting to get darker because it's beginning to boil. But yeah, they don't want to take a chance on losing out on money. And the guy at Jewel did tell me that if someone comes in and they want to buy, I think he said like a case of king crab legs, which will be like $1,000 something, then they will order them, which I totally get it, because you don't want to, you know, lose out on profit. So yeah, it was really, I couldn't find any king crab legs, so I have to do the snow crab legs, which I like those too, but I love my king crab legs. So it's all good. But yeah, you see how it's starting to turn darker, and then it's gonna get even more darker the more that it boils and that I let it sit. So yeah, I'll come back and I'll show you guys what it looks like, the coloring that I like for it to get to, for me to know it's done. And then as well as I'll show you guys some pictures of my seafood boil once I make it later. My sauce is how I like it. It's like a dark brown, reddish. I don't know if you can really see it as good as I can. But yeah, it's like a dark brown, reddish almost. And the reddish is really because of the crushed red pepper and the Old Bay seasoning and the chili powder. So it gives it that like dark brown, reddish color. But this is how I like it. And I can turn it off. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit, and then put it back in the refrigerator. We'll put it in the refrigerator because, like I said, it's for later. But it just tastes so much better when you make your butter sauce ahead of time. I would have preferred to make it yesterday for today, but like I said, I got a little busy. But I am making it this morning, so it'll get a chance to marinate a little bit before we have to eat it. So like I said, I'll show you guys pictures attached to this video. Thanks for watching.